All right. We are back. I hope this is working because Tim usually does the recording. He's good at that stuff. Um, so if we are working, welcome back. I'm running this solo dolo, as you can tell. It's okay. Tim wanted me to do these pods all summer, but can't make some time for two of our best teams in the league. That's okay. That's okay. I'm not salty. But I love to talk anyways, so I guess I don't mind doing it by myself. First off, happy draft day. One of the best days of the year. Second off, huge trade last night between Jillian and Tyler. Um, Pretty major trade. I mean, we've had some big trades this offseason, but this one's definitely up there. Just getting the actual details. Tyler traded JSN, Travis Kelce in the second next year for Jillian's first round pick, which is 1.05, Jalen Waddle and Ingram. I won't deep dive too much, but it's a trade I like for both sides. I really like it for Jillian. She needed kind of that number one receiver, and JSN projects to be that type of guy without DK Metcalf in Seattle. So just pairing that with her running backs, Saquon, Achane, Connor, Tracy, is huge. And I think that kind of vaults her into that top tier contenders up with like Rashid and the Kevins of the league. And then if Garrett Wilson, and I know it's been tough to trust Garrett Wilson, but if he can even get close to being a wide receiver one, then all of a sudden you have JSN, Garrett Wilson. That's a pretty good team. Obviously, it kind of stings. Waddle didn't have a great season last year, but I like the risk by Tyler to kind of count on a bounce back. Maybe he was banged up. Tua wasn't himself. And same with Evan Ingram now in Denver. Reports out camp is Sean Payton loves him. Um, and then Jillian gets Travis Kelce as well. So I think he's still good for another year, maybe two. And it's a perfect tight end to have on a contender, and Jillian's ready to contend right now. Interested to see what Tyler does with 1.05. I don't know if this way he can now just take Travion and Ted if he's looking to load up a receiver and take Travis and Ted or to trade back. But now he's got some extra options. So um, probably like to trade a little bit more for Jillian just because it solidifies herself as a contender. Um, I thought Tyler's team is still good enough to compete, but looks like this move is more let's rebuild while still trying to win some games. So like move for both sides. All right. So now we're going to get into the first. Or I'm only doing one. Hopefully Tim finds time to do Rashid's. I'm not going to count on it. Um, but we're going to get into Kevin's here. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Do you guys see that? Just kidding. Um, all right. State of franchise, Kevin. So Kevin, one of the best teams we've had in league history. He's been a consistent team the last 4 or 5 years. Um, Big regular season team right now. He's gonna have to shake that narrative soon, and as we'll go through this and kind of we'll talk about his team. So history, he has one championship. That was back in 2012. Sorry, Kevin, but the number one movie in 2012 was Hobbit, the first Hobbit, so not even the last one. Songs that were in the top 10, Locked Out of Heaven by Bruno Mars, Gangnam Style, and Diamond by Rihanna. So that just kind of puts in perspective how long it's been since Kevin's won a championship. But besides that, he has been one of the best teams we've seen. He's led the leagues in points 3 times. He has the most division titles all time, five. 96 and 77 all-time record, which vaulted him into third place for wins all time. He'll most likely get that 100 win this year. Second all time in points for in win 10 and 6 last year. Um, to put his 96 and 77 record into perspective, 2018 was the last time he's had a losing season, and he's gone 58 and 24 in that 6 year stretch. So before that, he was sitting at 38 and 53. Had some really down years after his championship win, but I mean, he's averaging 4 losses a year the last 6 years. That's incredible. I know obviously you would like to have a championship or two with that, but you got to be happy with those types of stats in the regular season. All right, so his running backs. very strong point here. Derrick Henry, I thought he was on the way out. He looked like he was on the way out in Tennessee. Trade him to Ryan. I can't remember if Ryan traded him before or after he signed with Baltimore, but either way, I think Ryan was in the same deal. Maybe thought Henry Hayes, 30, he's 30 years old. Let me trade him and get some assets. He obviously signs in Baltimore and has maybe not his best season. He had some massive years in Tennessee, but still showing that he's in his prime. And then he signs a 2-year extension in with Baltimore. I feel like that's gonna be his last 2 years in the league, and he's just gonna run his ass off. So we get the bull picture there for him. Big mistake by me and Tim last year ranking him green. I think we were kind of falling too much into the um, dynasty, like running backs after 30. At this point, he's a blue chip player until he's not a blue chip player, and he's a stud. Um, James Cook, me and Tim both had him as purple last year, and we have the same this year. There was some, I don't know, there was a little bit of nervousness maybe when with the holdout and not getting the contract initially. Ray Davis chatter throughout camp, but he got the 4-year deal, and that's Buffalo just instilling confidence in him. So I expect him to be the lead back for the duration of that contract, at least the first 2 or 3 years. Mixon here, now 30 years old. We had him as green last year. This is where me and Tim differ. I dropped him down to yellow, and that's only because it's looking like he's going to miss the start of the season. So hard to see him getting back into that top 20 this year. Maybe he has top 20 finishes as the year goes on, but um, that just makes me nervous. It does definitely makes me nervous. I'm sure Kevin's a little nervous about it. But if he comes back healthy, he has a chance to prove me wrong on that. Um, and that doesn't look like anyone's really taken over that backfield in Houston. I know there's a rookie, Woody Marks, and Nick Chubb is getting some love, and Damian Pierce is there too, which I can get to right now. Damian Pierce, huge rookie season for Norris. Um, then kind of just fell off after that. Kevin, I think Pierce, I saw had the first team snaps and played pretty well in their last preseason game. I know that's the last preseason game doesn't mean a ton, but if he actually steps up and takes the RB1 role over Chubb, that works out a lot better for Kev there. And then Isaac Guerendo, Kev traded for him last year. I liked the play, and then me and Tim both ranked him as pinks, but then they go out and trade for Brian Robinson, which hurts him a little bit. I know he's more of a young stash at this point, but still, you would hope that he would have taken over as that backup role, and if McCaffrey ever missed some time, he would step up. Now it seems like it's going to be Brian Robinson there. I think Brian Robinson's on the last year of his contract, so at the end of this season, it could be Grendo with that lead back role, or at least the backup role behind McCaffrey. All right, so receivers. I don't have to do Kev like this with the image at the top, but everyone's getting it, so it is what it is. Tyreek Hill, 31 years old. Mike Evans, 31 years old. DeAndre and Keenan, both 33. I do think that some of these guys can still produce, and you can tell by our ranking here. I mean, Tyreek, he did fall off a little bit last year, whether that was losing a step or more on Tua in the offense, remains to be seen. He still finished 21st. But he was talking about quitting the team, and I don't know. It's a lot of makes me nervous. Definitely makes me nervous. But he's got the talent to kind of get back into that blue tier. So that's why we both have him as teal right now. Too good to just be like a top 20 guy, but maybe not that top 10 guy, locked and loaded. Mike Evans, another mistake by us. We ranked him green last year, and he came out and proved that he's still one of the top guys. Tim has him as teal. I'm gonna have him at blue. Just same kind of mindset with Henry. He's gonna be a blue until he falls off. And last year he finished ninth, so he's right there, top 10 guy. And I don't expect that offense to really slow down. Jerry Judy's probably the most interesting piece he has, and Flacco getting the nod as starter, it's got to be a huge boost for him. Don't have the stats to back it up, so take this with a grain of salt, but I feel like Judy played a lot better when Flacco was starting, and the gunslingers like Jameis. We didn't even rank him last year. This year, Tim has him as pink. I have him as green. I mean, he finished 15th last year, so he was already kind of in that green area. Still only 26 years old, should be in the prime of his career, and should be the number one receiver there in Cleveland. I think he ends up being an every week starter for Kev and contributes. Um, and then Kev's got two guys here, Hopkins and Keenan Allen, where you're kind of just hoping for something. Hopkins sign in Baltimore. I shouldn't say hoping for something. I think Keenan Allen signing back with LA is pretty huge. He had a good season last year. Um, and I think I hit this ranking yellow before Keenan signed with LA, but either way, I'm gonna stick to it. Top 30 isn't bad for a guy that's 32 years old on a 1 year contract. So if he can come out and give you like a few weeks where he's a top 20 guy, that's huge. And I like him to kind of find his footing again in LA. And that's not even to say he had a bad year in Chicago last year. But he's just older and missed some games here and there. So, I mean, Kev still has a couple stud receivers. So that picture in the top right in the nursing home is probably a little too far. I'm just trying to be funny. All right, probably his best position group, group in the quarterbacks and tight ends there. He's got a stud in Jalen Hurts, who we had him as a blue last year. I know he only finished eighth, maybe kind of a down year for him, probably finishing eighth, but I expect him now that he's got the Super Bowl under his belt to have a little more confidence and maybe even open up the field a little bit more and start slinging it. I know their run game's awesome, so they're sticking to that. But I expect AJ Brown to demand a few more targets here and there and really open them up. And maybe one of the biggest surprises of last year, Baker Mayfield. I think Baker was actually starting for Kev by the end of the year. He's definitely not 34 years old, so ignore that. And we didn't have him ranked last year. I don't think he was on anyone's team. Kevin, I'm assuming drafted him. I have him as green this year. I have him as a top 10 quarterback. He finished fourth last year, and I don't see any reason why he won't go out there and throw for another 30, 35 touchdown passes. I think he had 45 last year, which that's ridiculous, but who knows? He could do it again. Um, Nick Kev's got two studs here at tight end. Kittle finished second last year. Tim ranked him as a green for this year. He texted me immediately saying, "I'm going to regret this," but he said he's getting up there, could get banged up. He's a blue chipper. He's especially with Debo gone. Ayuk gonna miss the start of the season. I know Pearsall is gonna get some targets. Jennings is gonna get some targets, but Kittle's the number one guy there. So I expect him to be the main target hog for Purdy these next couple of years. And then Hawkinson missed the start of last year. That's why he only finished 34th, or missed even more than the start. I think he missed over half the season. Um, but I expect him to come in and have a big role there in Minnesota. So Kev could end up having two tight ends. And the way his roster is shaped out, I could see him starting both those tight ends, especially with the extra flex spot this year. So Kevin definitely emptied the clip last year to get his guys. Some trades, I'm sure he kind of regrets, but I like looking at some of the trades he made at the time. He was just trying to shore up positions, trading picks for Cooper and Isaac Guerendo. So hey, I respect it. You gotta go for it, and there's teams that are contenders that are going to use those picks to get proven guys, and there's teams that are going to try to sell those veterans. It's just kind of the way it goes, and um, it'd be interested to see what Kevin does if he sticks with the philosophy this year, or kind of moves to trying to get a little bit younger from here on out. I'm the GM. What would I do? Uh, I would kind of stick to my guns. I would maybe trade some picks for 2026. Wait a few weeks, see how the team's looking. If you're got a winning record after 4 or 5 weeks, maybe you trade for a Devontae Adams type, to kind of shore up your receiving group. You do have the two tight ends. If Hawkinson comes out and is killing it, if Baker and Jalen are both coming out and killing it, maybe you package Baker and Hawkinson and try to get either a stud running back or some picks back. Either way, he has some assets there that he can move. Um, Worst case scenario, which I don't think is going to happen, but let's say a guy gets banged up or something. He does have some veterans that I know contenders would want if he wants to just, fuck it, let's just go full rebuild here. He could definitely get some first round picks for some of his studs, even though they're on the wrong side of 30. But like I said, some of those guys are still studs. So, I expect a big year from Kevin. There's some murmurs that he might be trying to get back into the draft this draft. So you never know. By the time this gets released, it could actually be outdated. So I'd be interested to see if he tries to get back into the first round or continues on the path of being a contender and using his veterans to carry his teams. But all right, looking forward to seeing everyone at the draft today. Shout out Tyler for hosting. Respect Cali, and yeah, we'll see you guys later. Peace.